Hi, Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. For nearly 30 years, I've been focused on helping advisors become the best both personally and professionally. This show is dedicated to sharing with you tools, tips, strategies, distinctions, things that are working now. I'd love for you to take a moment, and if you're watching this on YouTube, click the like button and also the subscribe button so you get automatic updates. And if you happen to be listening to us on a podcast, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and you leave a positive review for us. Now, with that said, let's get to today's episode. Hi, this is your coach, Joe Lucas, and welcome to this Magellan Network Show episode. Hey, welcome to 2022. Hope you're all doing great, off to a great start. And what I want to cover in this episode, and probably more of a two-parter, is how to start your day. So in other words, what does the ultimate morning success ritual look like for a world-class financial advisor? So stay tuned for some insights in this episode, and then next week we're going to publish part 2. So I thought we'd spend a little time with today is talking about why this is so important. So today let's talk about the why, and then next episode we're going to talk about the how. So here's why this is so critical. I have found in literally 28 years of doing what I do with financial advisors that if you just kind of get up and you reach for your mobile device and the first thing you do or the second thing you do is hit the inbox and the email, or you're checking the news and off we go, that you are going to be in a reactionary mode, that you're going to be mentally not optimal to go ahead and produce massive results. And it's going to cost you significant profits or significant income each and every year you don't elevate this standard. And where I got this from, everybody talks about morning rituals today. I've been teaching this to my clients for literally over 20 years. And the reason, or where I got this from, was I'm a big biography reader. So I read a lot of biographies of Michael Jordan, Wade Boggs, and all these different athletes, right? Tiger Woods. And the one thing that is common in all super successful world-class athletes is they just don't show up. There's a lot of elements, but let's just talk about kind of game day or match day or round, whatever, right? Whatever the sport is. They just don't roll out of their hotel room, take a shower, get in their car, get driven or drive, show up at the venue, lace them up, strap them up, whatever, and off they go. Nobody does that. You just don't show up. But yet, how many times do you, or how many times does an advisor kind of roll out of bed, check their mobile device, get ready for the day, maybe hit the gym, maybe exercise, maybe you don't, and then you hit the game, and again, here we are in 2022, the game may still be being played in your house, right, if you're working remotely. And you're just reactionary because you're in your inbox. And you just don't feel like you're controlling your day. And we've all been there, right? Where the goal for the day is to get through the day. How many times, you can raise your hand if you like, if that's you, like what percentage of the days are you just trying to get through the day? I will tell you, in probably 100% of the situations, the reason why you're trying to get through the day is you had no plan for the day. You had no ritual to get your mind right, to get clear on the outcomes for the day, to prioritize what needs to happen. So in my work, when I read about these world-class athletes and their morning routine, I said, you know what? And many years ago, I think you probably can go to Horse's Mouth, which I was one of the early contributors there. If they saw my stuff up there, I haven't been there in many years. I did I think it was a webinar, probably 2006, 2005, where I talk about the advisor being an athlete, like the commonality between world-class advisors and world-class athletes. And one of the cornerstones of that similarity is that both world-class athletes and world-class advisors have a pregame, in our world, a morning ritual, a syntax, a way
of getting them ready to be excellent in each game, every match, whatever it is. And it does not start with the news. It does not start with information. It'd be like starting your diet. Hey, get up in the morning. Hey, I want to be healthy today. I want to watch my nutrition, and you take a big old cup of white sugar, and you pour it down your throat. Because that's what it is if you're in the email first thing in the morning, or you're checking the news the first thing in the morning, or you're just jacking up your system, and there's no recovery. If you cannot control the first 20 to 60 minutes, and then we'll talk about this in the next episode, the kind of the how-tos, right? Some of the syntaxes. If you can't control the first 20 or 60 minutes of your day, what makes you think you're going to control the rest of it? What makes you think that? And I guarantee you, whether you're watching or listening to me, that there's been times in your career where you've actually had some level of morning ritual. Maybe you got up early, maybe you journaled, maybe you meditated, maybe you prayed, maybe you worked out. And the day just went better. Just did. Maybe you couldn't put your finger on it, but you just felt like you're in more control. You felt like you had both hands on the wheel and you were driving the car the way you needed to. I mean, ultimately, that's what we want. Now, why doesn't that happen? So if you buy the premise, hey, if I start my day with a certain syntax, I'm going to have a more successful day. And why this is important, again, this is the why episode. Why this is so crucial, critical, is if you want to have a great year, listen to me, this is really important. This is an important frame here. If you want to make 2022 your best year ever, so by December 31st, you've exceeded all your goals. You've been excellent economically and have really rock-starred the process to get there. Well, what do we need to do? What's the secret? Here it is. If you want to have a great year, you need to have great quarters. You need to have 4 of them, right? For Q1, Q2, through Q3, Q4. You need to have 4 of them. In order to have a great quarter, you need to have what? 3 great months. So in order to have a great month, what do you need? You need a great week. What do you need to have a great week? You need a series, 5, right? Great days. Well, what do you need to have a great day? A killer, rock star start to the day. Period. It all starts with that first 20 to 6, and I'm going to give you variations in our next episode on different elements. We have 8 protocols, 8. I'll go over to the 8 next conversation. My goal here today is to encourage you to make this a priority now. So here's what we're not doing. And when I say not doing, let me be very clear. I'm not saying you never look at your email or you never check your email. I'm not saying never, but there's a place for that. And it's after you do what you're going to do next episode. Then you check your email. Then you want to check your news feed, feel free. I know we have to be informed, so I'm not here debating that we cannot live in a cave. I understand that. But you just can't start in your inbox. So hypothetically, so my rule is if you're getting up at, let's say 5:30 or 6 o'clock, the first 60 minutes, you do not touch your inbox. You do not touch your newsfeed. In my game here at Magellan Network, we use a third-party app so that you don't go into your newsfeed. You don't go into your inbox. We publish a video at 4:55 Eastern every business morning. Why? Accountability, continuity, consistency. Because that's what this is about. You will never find consistency inside of your game if you do not find consistency inside of your mornings. Just can't happen. And I know what some of you are going to sit there and say, well, I don't sleep well, or I'm not a morning person. That's a load of BS. Here's why. I grew up third generation in the restaurant and bar business. Think of it like a neighborhood Cheers. In high school, when I was going to high school, I used to work there. I used to go sleep 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I used to get up. I used to get up at 2. I used to go to sleep 2 o'clock in the morning. Get up, 7 o'clock, go to school. Come back, take a nap. Do the night shift. As I was in my early 20s, when I was still involved in the family business, there would be mornings where I'd go to bed 4 o'clock in the morning. Especially on weekends when it's busy. Fast forward, I'm up 5:30 in the morning, no alarm clock, ready to go. So guess what? If I can change from a night owl, because I had to be, to a person who loves the mornings, you can too. You just have to make it important enough for you. And a lot of that's going to start with what you do the night before. So we're not going to get into the how-to, but I'm going to give you the why for this. If you're committed to a morning ritual and excellence of 2022, you also have to be committed to making sure that your lights out at a reasonable hour. And everybody's got a different time clock. Everybody's got different needs sleep-wise. We're not going to get into, there's no like standardization. But here's the bottom line. Whatever time you have to get up in the morning, and you're struggling to get up in the morning because you're exhausted, that's a clue that maybe you need to find a evening ritual or bedtime ritual that maybe doesn't include staring at your mobile device for hours on end. Maybe we need a little something different, right? Maybe an Audible, maybe listening to some meditation music. I don't know. Everybody's different. But it has to happen for you. Just like an athlete who's got to win, right? How does an athlete have a great career? They win often. And what gives them the best chance of winning? They control. Control the morning. And I know what some of you sit there and say, well, I've got little kids, or I've got this, and I understand that I've got clients who have all that plus more. You'll never hear me say this. You need to be up by X. I don't believe in getting up by X. You want to get up at 5 o'clock? Knock your brains out. If I don't get up till 7 o'clock and you're cool with that, that's fine. As long as you can control the first 20 to 60 minutes of the morning. I don't care which 20 or 60 minutes they are, whether that's the 5 to 6 window, the 5:30 to 6:30 window, 6:30, whatever it is. But you have to commit, because here's what happens. This is why getting out of the email is so important. You start seeing what people are demanding of you, clients, right? Clients have an issue, corporate, whatever your game is. Your brain is going to be compelled to want to go handle those things. Like you feel like, I got fire burning. I got to handle it. And let me just say this. What we do inside of our game is incredibly important, super important. It is rarely a crisis. So it's important, but not urgent. So whether you respond to that email at 6:05 or 7:30, it should not matter. Now, some of you want to respond to it at 6:05 because you go, it's like, well, look at me. Look at me, Mr. or Mrs. Client. I'm getting back to you at 6:05, right? I'm on it. That's okay. I'm not saying that's a terrible thing at one level, but at the other level, I can sit there and say to you, you know what? What you're doing is you're sabotaging your own success. If you've got a client that needs to hear back from you by 6:15 a.m., you got to question the nature of that relationship. Like, what are we doing here? And don't you think time is now for you to elevate and be excellent? I don't care if you're in this game for this your second year or this is your 30th year. It doesn't matter. Here's why. You have 100% of your career left. Whether that's another 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, who knows? Every morning I get up, I'm grateful. I have 100% of my coaching career left. God willing, it's going to go for another 50 years. It may go another 5 minutes. I don't know. My intent is it's going to hit the 50 mark, right, going forward. That's the way you need to think. And I'll leave you with this. And then make sure you show up next week when I lay out the syntax. I will tell you that when you master your morning game, your own morning success ritual, that everything changes for you. The sense of control, the sense of focus, the sense of ability to get things done, the consistency, all aspects. Now, why do advisors struggle with this? They're not willing to get uncomfortable. It's change. There's no question. It is easier to lay in bed than get up. It is easier to reach for your mobile device and hit the inbox than it is to think about your goals for the day. It is a lot easier and way more distracting to check your news feed than to sit there and visualize being successful that day, or have a conversation with yourself about what has to happen or what you deserve. It's always easier. Easier in this game always means less economic abundance. I'm going to repeat that. Easier always, not once in a while or majority of the times, always means less economic abundance for you. So if you've committed, so if somebody says to me, Joe, hey, it's 2022, like if I was on stage and there were 1,000 advisors in the room and they said, give us the one thing, the one strategy in your almost 30-year coaching career that would have a profound impact on an advisor. There's no hesitation in my voice. Figure out the first 20 to 60 minutes of your day, because that is the foundation of success. So with that said, I hope I've inspired you, I've encouraged you to think about and committing to having a rockstar morning success ritual. In our next episode, I'm going to break down the 8 elements. We call it the Magellan Morning 8. And we're not going to do the deep masterclass dive, but I'm going to lay out each one for you and explain why it's so important. And then some bullet points on how to accomplish it. So make sure you show up again next week for part 2 of how to rockstar or how to really create a powerful morning success ritual being a financial advisor. So thanks a lot. Again, welcome to 2022. Please consider me a resource. If there's anything I can do for you, if any topics you'd like me to cover. And we have some links below. MagellanNetwork.net is my home on the internet, and there's some cool things on that side I'd love you to have a look at. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve you today. Be well, and I'll see you all in our next episode.
Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game both personally and professionally.